Hey everybody, this is Dusk for Dusk to Dawn Gaming with probably a shorter stream tonight, our second stream on the channel. We're gonna go ahead and do Jose's list. Jose mentioned at the end of our last stream that he had a list to send us. Told him I'd get to it either today or Sunday, so here we are. List is fairly similar to some of the lists we've been playing. It's a bit of a split between the approach lists and the Gearhulk lists. You'll see a lot of the same tools. Arch of Azaka, very much like in the land base. We have one Memorial to Genius and one Memorial to Glory. 2 copies of Meandering River. So I think our mana will be very good, but we could potentially have some issues with whatchamacallit, some issues with lands coming into play tapped on the wrong turns. So we do have to be careful for that. Beyond that, just got your usual Essence, Scatter, Disallow counterspell package. No negates, none of the things like Censor or anything like that. So pretty clean on the counter package. You got quite a bit of interaction in the 2-mana slot or plays on the 2-mana slot, which I think are one of the big keys to this deck. If you're not interacting with your opponent fairly quickly, you tend to fall behind in the mono-red matchups. So having interaction on 2 is very important. Disallow is just your best counterspell. 3-1 split on Glimmer and Illumination. I'm kind of coming around on running at least some number of Illuminations, because sometimes you miss your land drops, and that's a problem. 3 Settle the Wreckage, 2 Fumigate. I think at least 5 Sweepers is minimum. Your Settles pair very well with your Torrential Gearhulks, but Settle the Wreckage has been around in Standard for quite a while now, so people usually know to play around it. Cast Out to answer anything that slips past your counterspells. Usually Planeswalkers are the big targets for that. Also Shalai, make sure Settle the Wreckage worse, so you have to be able to take her out of the equation. Couple Teferi, couple Gearhulks. These are kind of your win cons, kind of your value cards. Teferi obviously can take over a game if left unchecked. Torrential Gearhulk can win a game, but generally speaking, your opponent's going to have removal in game 1, so it's more of an extra Glimmer, an extra Settle the Wreckage, and then Approach of the Second Sun tends to be your best win con. He's running a 2-2-1 split on the list here, and then 1 Commit to Memory in the main deck, as well as 3 Syncopates, which actually kind of changes the equation a little bit. Syncopate gives you another 2 mana play. It's possible. That's good, Space Marine. I, however, did not have a great night, so I'll get into that as we get into the broadcast going a little bit. And then his sideboard has 1 Forsake the Worldly, 1 Invoke the Divine, a couple Gideons, another Sweeper, couple Regal Caracals for mono red, and as a hull for the control mirrors, Sorcerer Spyglass, mainly shut down Planeswalkers and things like Argyl's Bloodfast, negates for matches where those are good, such as the control mirror, against things like red-black in the post-board games, and then pull for tomorrow in your control mirror when you're trying to outcard your opponent. So, that being said, we're going to jump into a couple 2-man queues tonight. I got about an hour and 15-ish minutes, maybe an hour and 30 to stream, so we got to get rolling on the matches here. Yeah, Space Marine, I played a more approach-based list last night, and got punished by the mana base a little bit. Against Mono Red was one of my losses, and the other loss was to a punt to Black Red. Alright, so this hand, it's actually tempting to keep this one. So we have no white mana, which is a risk. We have Illumination to cycle, Syncopate on the play. I think I'm going to keep it because we have the cycle, but it's certainly a hand that can punish us. Gotta get this BP, we keep you moving. So, kind of heard down. Oh, okay. Mono red, beep beep. I don't think mono red's quite modern level fast. I think it's a turn slower, like most aggro decks and standard should be. But it definitely punishes stumbles. Like if we don't draw another land here, then or our opponent plays around Cartouche of Zeal. Alright, so our opponent's a little more of a aggro-y version of the deck. So I'd really like to hit a land drop next turn, preferably a white source. But yeah, we're definitely going to be punished for keeping the hand that we did. That said, if we hit an untapped white source, sealing away this... well, this feels bad, but I'm pretty sure I'm just supposed to seal this straight away and let my opponent resolve whatever they want to resolve. I don't like main phasing a ton of stuff, but I also don't want my opponents getting cards off that Bowmat Courier if their hand's particularly garbage in this matchup. Ether Hub is a risky one. We'll put it that way. Okay, so they're shocking us. Sure. This like shock into Lightning Strike here. So poor man's... Wow. Triple shock? Okay. Wowzers. Well, I'm definitely glad we got rid of our opponent's Bowmat Courier. We're going to cycle this Illumination at end of turn. Yeah? Come on, deck. And this is how we lose to mono red, ladies and gentlemen. Huh. So... I mean... They're out of cards, but we're at 4, so... Syncopate would not have done any good. Yeah, I lost game 1 due to something similar. Well, I lost game 2 to something similar to this, and I lost game 1 to not having double blue on turn 3 and 4 for the disallows in my hand. So, 28 lands definitely tempting. So we want the Caracals. Definitely want the Caracals. What other cards do we want in this matchup? The commit's probably a little slow. They didn't show us any enchantments or artifacts, and the fact that they're mono red makes that a lot less likely. So I might want like 1 copy of Sorcerer's Spyglass for something like Chandra. Get rid of maybe... Feels kind of counterintuitive, but maybe like a Syncopate and Syncopate and a Settle, or a Syncopate and... Huh. Gotta be one of the more expensive cards, but maybe Approach in this matchup? Since our Caracals and Gearhulks will probably be good enough to win, though it is kinda debatable. You definitely want some win cons in your deck. This is the one part about the blue-white, this particular blue-white lists I'm not 100% sure on, is how to sideboard in some of these matchups, like where you have a lot of good cards and a lot of like borderline cards that you just like, okay, how do I shift these in and out? Like I usually want to cut expensive cards in matchups against mono red, but your expensive cards are your good answers, so this hand seems perfectly fine. As long as we find a third and fourth land drop, or fourth and fifth land drop, I should say. Once we get this Tefuri online, unless they go, well, even if they go turn one Bow Mat here, it's not a huge deal. So we can always seal it at some point. I don't know. Gideon might have been fine. I just don't like tapping out for Gideon against a deck that plays so many little guys. Like, to me, Gideon's better against decks that, G2 Lava Runner. I'm thinking that is Essence Scatterable. I don't tend to like Gideon against mono red in particular, because they have so many haste threats and they go so wide. It just, like, all it does is eat a little bit of damage, or they just completely ignore it. Maybe that's some wrong thinking on my part. Yep. Especially since, like, if we look at our opponent's thing, they're closer to the Wizards build of the deck than they are the traditional, further up the curve mono red version, because the Cartouche of Zeal and all the one drops tend to indicate that they're a little bit faster. Now, if we don't hit another land drop, we're going to be in some trouble here. So, probably going to have to cycle cast out here, even though it is arguably our best answer to some of their bigger idiots. Okay, yeah, they are in fact mono red wizards. To be fair, I've had a rough go of in many different forms. Cycle this, come on, let us hit a land drop. This is what I refer to about the tap lands maybe coming back to bite us a little bit. Like, there's a few more tap lands in this version of the deck than there are some of the other ones, so yeah, we might just get burned out. Skirk Prospector. Okay. Alright, I mean, we got Essence Scatter and Seal Away, and Glimmer if they do nothing in particular we care about. Yeah, we'll take the 3 on the face. Definitely next game we're going to be bringing in negates, should we get to that point, so. Because our opponent just has way too many burn spells. See, like, these tap lands I don't like. I really don't like the tap lands. to Furry. Not the beatdown. Sorry, Bourbon Fox, I'm not entirely following what you mean. We seriously gonna die to burn spells here? See if they sack it for mana. They don't. Alright. Yeah. I understood that. I just wasn't sure if it was in relation to a particular point. Like if there was something in particular. I'm just hoping we don't get hit by like end of turn shock into something or other. If our opponent has 2 burn spells here, we're probably dead. Okay, opponent had shock in hand. Another Essence Scatter. I say this feels like Wizard's Lightning. I think the syncopates should just be negates in the next match here. Not the next match, the next game. This probably will get the scoop. Alright, looks like our opponent might fight till the end here. Nope. Alright, so we need to get the syncopates out of our deck. Syncopate. Okay. Syncopate is liked because it is an early interaction spell that can also be a late interaction spell. Yes, it gets worse as you're settling the wreckaging your opponent, etc., etc. But, so I'm thinking Sorcerer Spyglass has maybe no purpose, because it doesn't seem like they are a deck that even goes all the way up to Chandra. So I'm going to risk taking it out and put in third negate. But this is a game we could certainly... it depends. In a lot of post-war games against blue-white, or for blue-white, it's good. Because you have a lot of, especially in the black-white or red-black matchups, vehicles in particular, you have things like, oh dear lord, Moto, why do you hate me? So, okay, we'll take this hand. Both keep our 6. 2, 3. I think we're in the market for a glimmer here. Anyways, Bourbon Fox, it is basically your answer to multiple copies of a Planeswalker, since you don't play a ton of ways to get them off the board once they're already on the board, because you're not a pressure deck, generally speaking. So it gives you a way to shut down like a Chandra, or a Karn, or an Argril's Bloodfast, all of which can be exceptionally hard cards to beat. So I think I'm just supposed to seal here. My opponent has a shock or something. They have a shock. I don't really care about that. So the one part that's dangerous about this red list is if you mulligan down, you are definitely a critical mass deck, and without your critical mass, you're just garbage. So I guess we'll find out if they have Chandras in their deck. Alright, well, we're not hitting land drops, but we're also kind of going to be able to answer everything they play. Alright, there's a land. That's why I kept that Glimmer on top, was to definitely have a way to draw cards. Just have a bunch of lands in hand? What? I am completely, totally, utterly speechless right now. So it looks like my opponent has God Pharaoh's Gift and Chandra's in their deck. So is this mono red? Sure. Is this like mono red? Godfarrow's gift deck? Bottom negates, top the illumination. Really need to find a win con here. Yeah, I think we're in good shape. We got a lot of counter spells, but we do need some way to win the game. No. Go away, bug boy. It's a large walking ballista? Glorybringer. Yeah, your Glorybringer resolved. Seal. Pass. Should probably actually do one of these main phase, because our opponent can only have one spell we want to counter. Well, sometimes you find no win cons, and other times you find, like, all the win cons. Honestly surprised our opponent hasn't scooped given the nature of their deck right now. This is one of those you wish you had a show hands button, because it's like, with all due respect, opponent, I have like 3 counter spells, a 4th one if you count Torrential Gear Hulk. Alright, so game's definitely out of reach for our opponent. I think the game's over, friend. Yeah, another mountain. Wowzers. Karn. Actually, we may as well drop Gear Hulk and counter their thing. Don't think this quite put lethal on the table, but it's pretty darn close. So our opponent looked like there's some combination of GG. So 7, 12 power in play. There's no way they can get back into the game. So. So, chatting with our opponent here, seemed like an actual cordial. Alright, our opponents left the game, so that's sad. I actually wanted to see their list. Seemed pretty cool. So, match 1, we managed to beat Mono Red Burn, which is nice. So they were late. So it seemed like they were a Wizards Burn deck main deck with like a sideboard Go Big Karn Godpharaoh's Gift plan? Can't say that's horrible. It's definitely very interesting. So while we have a minute before we get into the next match, I'm just waiting to see if someone pops in the queue, because I really don't want to play the same opponent twice. I generally like to try to get different opponents, so I get different decks, even when I'm doing 2-man queues. So, anybody have any questions while we're waiting in chat? It was nice to beat Mono Red. It's really a shame Jose isn't here. Oh well, let's go ahead and fire into the queue. But if we get the same opponent, we get the same opponent. But just like to thank everyone for tuning in this evening. This is our second actual live stream. Thank you, Martin. Oh dear, I am not going to pronounce this name right. Boy. I apologize if I just murdered that pronunciation. But Karn is definitely very powerful. It is, I think, the most expensive card in Standard right now. Even more than Teferi. Because it just goes in so many decks. So, here's a hand for you. 3 lands, Fumigate, double Torrential Gear Hulk. You'll definitely have to share it, Space Marine. I think we're going to keep this hand. It is a little loose if we're up against an aggressive deck. Yeah, I agree it's an easy keep, but I still evaluate my hand going, well, if my opponent's playing like what our last opponent's playing, I could get Meep run over, so... but yeah, Karn is definitely, especially in decks with like Heart of Kiran, Scrap Heap Scrounger and such, which is the black-white vehicles lists and the red-black aggro lists. It synergizes extremely well with what they're doing, and it can be a huge boon to those decks. And I've also seen both Space Marines list and one of the people that I see at my local shop playing blue-white every week has Karn somewhere in their 75 of a control list. And it's actually been, when we played it in Space Marines list, it was very, very good. Even in place of something like especially if you can keep the board clear in place of something like Glimmer of Genius or Hieroglyphic Illumination, it's a perfectly reasonable card. So, well, with a name like a blanking Space Marine, I can understand how you just YOLO things. It's still one of the best handles I know. And Bourbon Fox is pretty sweet too, so. So, we up against Mono Black Control. But, just want to say thanks to everybody hanging out tonight. If you're new to the channel, feel free to hit that subscribe button. I had to disable comments. Oh dear. Returns the battlefield under champ player's control. Okay. Well, that's not going to hurt us too much, because we only literally have 2 cards in our deck, or 2 creatures in our deck, so cast out. Yeah, Trespasser's Curse is player loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. Alright, so it looks like we're up against Mono Black Control of some style. There's a couple different lists that have been floating around. Hey, no problem, Space Marine. Where are you from, anyway? I don't think I've ever asked you that. Like, are you from the States, or are you from Australia? I'm just guessing Australia because of the might. Yeah. You've got a Trespasser's Curse. I don't care. Question mark. You're Australian, but you live in the US. Huh. So what brought you to the United States? If you don't mind sharing. Oh yeah, Bourbon Fox. I definitely play Modern. If you look at the channel, there's a lot of Modern content on the channel. In fact, up until this prep work with Blue-White Control for... I was planning on going to GP Pittsburgh. I was younger. Stayed because I liked it. There's the battlefield. Target opponent. Okay. I think I'm supposed to syncopate this? Question mark. Once again, not really sure what's going on with our opponent's list. So. Well, I've learned to pick up a few vocal clues. Like if you're A in somebody's dialect, it usually means there's a good chance they're from Canada. If you hear yins and y'all or something along those lines, you tend to guess they're from southern United States, southeastern United States in particular. So, no land drops. We might cycle our cast out here on end step. I don't like cycling cast out. I really don't, especially against a Trespasser's Curse. Lord only knows what else is going on over their deck. Deathbloom Thallid. Where a creature enters the battlefield under enchanted player's control. Okay. Guess I'm just supposed to counter everything you play and cycle this cast out here. I'm going to actually start testing Esper sooner than later because of the amount of the blue white mirror that's starting to pop up at my shop. So we're probably going to be doing Esper later this week, Space Marine. We will probably do Esper, I don't know. I might take a day or two break from like a day or so break from blue-white control and standard, just to stream something else. Like I did a little bit of work on the channel today with some mono-white humans in modern. I'm starting a series. What I'm trying to do what I used to do on the channel is I used to do like random videos of whatever, decks interested in me, or I'd throw a burn every once in a while because I'm pretty good with modern burn. All that kind of stuff. But I'm starting to get a little bit of prep work done for a GP, so I need to be good with my standard deck. And then, like I'm starting a series like where I do like a particular archetype in. So this leaves us one turn window where we're vulnerable to something. So I don't think our opponent's going to be able to land anything too backbreaking here, but if they do, we can probably deal with it. But yeah, I'm starting a series where I'm working on humans lists, and I'm starting with like the cheapest, like some of the builds that were like mono white humans, playing a white red humans list that was very similar to actual factual raised dead. But they can't cast it this turn unless they have a land. So I think we're good. But yeah, I'm starting to work on the humans list since the humans is the most popular deck in modern right now. And then after that, obviously we're going to keep working on blue-white for a while because I have to, even after GP Pittsburgh, I have to continue to play it at the local F&M because we have like this IQ Invitational Qualifier series. So I'm probably going to be playing it at least a little bit into M19 or whatever it is. So I'd like to put that in my graveyard. Yes. My kingdom for a land. Well, I'm glad everybody likes it. I'm going to try to start streaming a little bit more, especially here during summer. Eventually the plan is someday down the line I want to do this full time, but right now I'm in school full time during the fall and spring semesters for Masters of Accountancy. I also work at Walmart, so I've just recently been getting back into. Yeah, I think I'm gonna let that resolve at this point. I've just recently been getting back into more actively playing Paper Magic. So, okay, search for Azcanta. Please show me a land. Land? Yes. Deck, show me a land. Sweet, Bourbon Fox. Yeah, I have my bachelor's in accounting too. It's just I wanted to get all my schooling done. Like you still have a Kmart that's open? That's even more amazing. All the Kmarts in my area are now closed. So alright. Just gonna pass here. Sorry, this isn't the most entertaining game in the world. We definitely have an interesting build of our opponent's stuff going on here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if they cast anything, I think we might disallow. A lot of it's going to depend on what they play here. Might seal away this Death Spore Thallid and then counter whatever they play. So, Bourbon Fox, are you here in the U.S. or are you international somewhere? So I'm just going to take this hit. I'll seal away at the end of turn depending on what they do. It's possible they just use a kill spell on this just to get a ballot out of the deal. Like, if I were them and I was sitting on a Fatal Push, I'd probably... Well, I guess they can't push that. Never mind. They'd have to specifically have Cast down here. Alright, what does my Ascanta show me? No. Not like to put that one in the graveyard. This is one of the problems with playing with blue-white controls. People get bored very easily. So, unfortunate part of playing the deck sometimes. You get some of these matchups where there's not a lot of interaction and your opponent's playing slow and it's just kind of painful. So I apologize for the boringness here other than our chat. Okay, we'll definitely play that out. Tap 2 of our blue lands here. Alright. Does our opponent have something like a Vraska's Contempt here? Cabal Paladin. So I'll get our 7th card in the graveyard. We'll be able to flip his Kanta. Minimum, we'll be able to hold up the Gearhulks. So these Gearhulks should be able to close out the game. Come on, opponent. You can't possibly be thinking about anything when you're timed out here. Or tapped out. Tapped out, not timed out. Come on, opponents. This were real life, I'd be going, Judge! Slow play! Judge! Better make sure I'm not timed out here. Nope. Sometimes Magic Online disconnects, so had to make sure that I wasn't going cuckoo here. So what's everyone's favorite types of decks to play? In Standard or Modern or Legacy, if you happen to play that. I'd like to put that into my graveyard, sure. Yes, I'd like to transform as Kanta. Play Glacial Fortress. Play this Teferi. So in case you're wondering why I'm doing this, is Teferi requires me to untap lands. So better to untap my lands and give my opponent extra ability to cast spells. I don't know what they could possibly have for 2 black mana, but I don't really want to find out. Yep, those are both pretty decent things. Rat colony. Okay. Not using Gear Hulk here because I don't want to just throw a Gear Hulk for no value out. Do you play Bourbon Fox? Do you play Grixis Delver in Modern or Legacy? Huh. That's interesting. Do you play it regularly? Like, as in still up to date play it? Because I have a friend, I played a little bit of Grixis Delver. If you look somewhere like 3, 4, 5 months back, I played some Grixis Delver on the channel. If you have a up-to-date list that you wouldn't mind sharing, could you email that list to me, or if you have a link here in chat, be something I'd definitely be interested in playing. Get rid of that, get rid of... do I want to get rid of a land or a spell here? Because I enjoy playing Grixis Delver to a certain extent, and I have a friend that really likes Grixis Delver when he's not too busy gushing over his alien decks. So we are not even through match 1, and my opponent has not Wonder in Death. Do I even care? Yeah, if he has cast down, he has cast down. It's kind of whatever here. mtgotavern@gmail.com. The link should be in the description of this video. If not, basically every other video on this channel has the email, especially like the last 10 to 15 videos, because I had to disable comments because personal matter. I had someone in real life was I don't want to use the word stalking me, but kind of. So yeah, Grixis Delver is fun. I could never do better than 3-2 with it in a league, but yeah, we'll go with that. That's about all I'm gonna say into it. So Crazy X, pretty much, yeah. Yep. So apparently our opponent does not have a cast down, or otherwise they just would have. Let's get this game over with. The game's over, opponent. Why don't you just scoop? I'm going to be discarding a Glimmer of Genius. That should tell you this game is over. Wow, really? Like, I'm trying to be nice here, opponent, but I'm going to have to start going Alta Fairy on your hind end if you don't concede soon. Like, you only have like 9.5 minutes to try to win 2 games. Like, I could cast Approach here, but I'm literally just going to annihilate my opponent's permanence because they're really playing slowly and they're really starting to annoy me. Yeah, I know. I'm guessing internet connection issues is the only thing I can think. But like our opponent has made like no the plays they have made should not have taken as long to think out as they have. It could be slow internet connection, could all just be our opponent's double queuing, could be they're really trying to think what their options are. I mean, they could easily, have like a bunch of Duresses and Doomfalls and Argyl's Bloodfast in our sideboard and come back and slaughter us in game 2, in game 3, but I don't think they're going to have time. Like, I'm the control deck and I'm up 9 minutes on clock. That shouldn't be happening. Sure. Do this, Glimmer, draw some more cards, exile more of your crap. So, they're still not going to concede? Okay, fine. I'll take my point of damage. Like, I don't understand why we're still playing this game. I really don't. Alright, logically, let's think what they could be bringing in. Could be bringing in Duress. They could be playing in Argyll's Bloodfast. I think he or she may have succeeded on that one. I'm gonna go ahead and bring in Forsake the Worldly, because there's a decent chance they have some amount of enchantments. Gonna bring in some amount of negates. Probably board out like one Essence Scatter, one Syncopate. I'm gonna bring in Nezahal just as a... Actually, no. I should probably bring in Gideons in this matchup, huh? Bring in Gideons. Go down... Maybe another Syncopate. One Settle the Wreckage. And... trying to think what else. Maybe like a Seal Away, because they don't seem like a particularly fast deck. I say that, and then we're gonna get hit by something like I don't even know. Need to make a couple more cuts. Maybe like one copy of Disallow, try it like that. Sometimes these last cuts are very hard to make the correct ones. Sure. So we have no idea what our opponent's really up to. So how's everyone doing tonight? My name is Dusk, or Duskblader here on MTGO. It's originally my screen name on World of Warcraft, so that's where that kind of came from. It was supposed to be Duskblade originally, but Duskblade has been taken on most of those things, so I chose to run Duskblader. Some people like to jokingly refer to it as Duskbladder, so that's pretty much where that nickname came from. Real name is John. Those of you that end up emailing me end up seeing, I think, my real name. Thriving Rats. Okay. So now I might potentially regret... Oh, they're just a Rats deck. I should have realized that from the nonsense that we saw that was actually going on. Just pass here. So they're probably a little more aggressive than we saw in Game 1. And now I'm going to regret some of how I sideboarded. So I could get hit by a 2-3 here, which is fine. Mind Rot. Target player discards 2 cards. So I think I'm going to go ahead and Syncopate here. So we were right, they had some form of discard, so it seems like they're pretty decently prepared for this matchup post-board, which is fine. Yeah, we're going to get hit for 2, which I'm more than okay with. I'm out of Northwest Ohio, Northeast Ohio. So, of course, that said, I might regret playing my Syncope here if he doesn't play a... He ends up playing a creature. So, Sky Swarm, Bloodluster. Okay, that resolves. So our opponent definitely is a little more creature heavy. Did we board out any of our sweepers? I think we boarded out one of the, yeah, boarded out one of the Settle the Wreckages in the main. So I might regret that a little bit here. Go ahead and seal this rat away. Past our opponent here. Unfortunately, we really only have a negate to kind of pressure them with right now. Or stop pressure, I should say. Other thriving rats. Okay. So if our opponent has exactly another thriving rats, this line might punish us a little bit. But beyond that, I don't think there's much they can do here. So we have Essence Scatter and Negate up. Teferi can take a hit this turn, that's fine. They're not exactly a deck known for their pump spells, so even if they hit Teferi for 4, I'm perfectly fine. Alright, thanks Bourbon Fox, it was great chatting with you. Dark Bargain, I think that's a negate. Glad you could catch the stream. Hopefully we'll be able to stream your Grixis list here sometime this week. Hopefully you'll be in the house when that happens. Alright. Opponent. Probably going to come after Teferi. Alright, they're just flat out going after me. Alright. Well, thanks, Space Marine. There's more than just you two in here, but you two are the only two chatting right now, so. Alright, so let's see what Teferi finds us. Seal away. Perhaps it's a waste to use this seal away here. I'm more afraid of the rats right now. Just kind of wishing Jose could have caught his other viewers chat with me. Alright, so here's the battlefield. You may put target creature effect or graveyard on top of your library. Well, I'm definitely good at drawing lands this game. Opponent continues drawing lands. Cycle the farmland. I guess we just pass here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It's possible I should be firing off this illumination main phase, but oh well. This game's pretty much locked up now. Not that it wasn't in amazing shape before, but yeah, Gearhulk really cinches it. Wow. We go from finding nothing to like finding everything. Sometimes this deck just gives you the nuts. Opponent's gonna time out here shortly, so we don't even have to do anything. Down the graveyard, yes. Yes. Play that. Do this. Like, all I've literally got to do is not die for the next, like, 20 seconds, and it really doesn't matter. Three, 2. I found that my 3 Gear Hulks are actually much better in the main deck now. And we won due to timeout, although to be fair, we were so far ahead in that matchup that it was kind of silly. Yeah, Gear Hulk's going to be pretty important in the main. A lot of it depends on your meta and how reliable they are. So, thoughts on this list, Jose, when you're seeing this later? Your list is very well balanced. I like a lot of what you got going on. The syncopates are fine. Their effectiveness is debatable. The one question I have is the mana base is a little heavy on tap lands, and those ether hubs were a little sketchy sometimes. I know we have Glimmer of Genius to power them up, but if you're gonna run ether hub, I'd almost run an ether meltdown or two to supplement the energy supply. So if you're relying on that for one of your big blue or white sources, I would certainly take a look at an ether meltdown or two. Yeah, I agree, Marine. It's too tappy, but he probably has a reason for running all those lands. Like Memorial to Glory in some spots can make sense. Memorial to Genius makes a lot of sense. I'm thinking there's maybe one too many meandering rivers, but I'm giving Jose the benefit of the doubt that he's worked on the mana base for a while, that there's reasons. Maybe his meta is a little slower. Maybe he has a little more Black-Green Sneck and some of the other control matchups and stuff, to where it's not as important to have your mana on time, it's more important to have it be consistent. So, but that's the thoughts on the list. So as far as the next stream, we are definitely going to be streaming tomorrow evening, probably around 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30, 8, somewhere in there. Depends on eating or supper time and a couple other things. I do work tomorrow morning, then probably have to come home and take a nap like an old person. So, but we'll definitely be streaming some tomorrow evening. I will probably also do a stream of some kind. Oh, I understand, man. Life happens. You can always catch it on the replay. Nice part about YouTube, everything's automatically logged. So, you can always rewatch. But thanks everyone for hanging out tonight. Thanks for the new subs. I believe we're up to 195, which is pretty sweet. We started today with 191. Had one this afternoon sometime, and then I think 3 more here during the stream, or somewhere during the stream. Thanks everyone for watching. We play a lot of Standard and Modern on the channel. We'll be streaming some Modern here. Probably some tomorrow late evening. Tomorrow afternoon, I'm not really sure what I'm going to be streaming yet. So, but I want to thank everyone for hanging out. Thanks to Space Marine for being the voice of the people. And I will catch everybody later, I hope.